All right. Unique New York. I can't get over it. Since I was made fun of for starting every episode with it still kind of happens once in a while, except it stops me dead in my tracks now.
But instead you went with Unique New York.
I didn't say it was better.
I'm glad you didn't.
All right. For real.
Are we starting over?
I'm going to cut all. This is probably going to hit the floor. This is going to hit the editing room floor.
We all know that's bullshit.
It's the 5th of May, 2022. I'm Commander Jay and Trax. This is the Loose Screws podcast, and I just want to say that I'm in my late 20s. Very late 20s. So, joining me tonight we're going to start at the top of the list. It's Commander Chig, back for more brutality. I don't know why I said that.
It's pronounced Cinco de Mayo. And
I didn't try to pronounce that.
No, well, you did. You just pronounced it May the 5th.
Oh, I get it.
So yeah, it's terrible. This is going to be a good show. Again. All right, yeah, move along.
All right. Also here is Nurgle. Welcome.
Good evening.
And also here is Jay Barron, the
Howdy.
Bards and the Bees.
Yup.
And also here is Ty Worsham, Commander Tierval.
Mike on.
That's what he sounds like now, everybody.
I got this new mic the other day, and whenever I unmute it, it goes, Mic on. And when you hit mute, it goes, Mic off. And I haven't figured out how to turn that shit off
so
yet.
We will only hear you saying mic on, because when you turn it off and it says mic off and you copy it, we won't hear that part because the mic will be off.
I just thought it was funny this time, so it will happen next time probably.
No,
maybe.
please say mic on every time.
Every time,
yeah. I'm on board for this. Let's do it. Mic on. In fact, that's a strong contender early for the title of the episodes.
You guys
Right.
spell M-I-K-E.
Mic
you guys
on,
spell
mic
it.
off.
M-I-K-E?
Yeah.
Mic on. All right.
Yeah, you have to misspell it to make it
Mic
work.
on,
You know?
mic off,
Gotcha.
the micer.
Oh my God.
So, this show's going to be just packed full of jolly goodness. We've got squadron updates. We've got Chigs and chats. We've got Galnet nonsense. We've got a dev stream with actual information. And I'll probably mention that stupid issue tracker thing again, so buckle your seatbelts from that. But in the meantime, why don't we catch up with the crew? What have you been doing the past week, Chig?
Do you want me to rant? Should I talk about my shard cannon ordeal?
Yeah.
Should I go into that?
Yes.
I want it.
But people don't like salt because, we got good news this week.
There's going to be plenty of sugar tonight.
I'm sorry.
Go.
I got
What
a fresh cup of
evidence?
coffee. Go for it.
Hold on. What evidence do you have that people don't like salt?
There's a lot
oh my God.
There's
Basically,
a lot of salt
all they do.
salt.
No, yes, but what's funny is the people who complain about people being salty. So they're being salty about people being salty is like this saltception kind of thing going on that always makes me chuckle when people go over the top complaining about people being salty.
It's meta salty.
Yeah, it's definitely meta salty. So,
all right.
Okay. So this is what happened to me with FDev this last week, and this is why I'm happy that the dev news, spoiler alert, wasn't complete bad news. It was actually a relief, but we'll get to that later. This is how my week went. Is I had been struggling. We've been doing the bug hunting, and we get, I don't know. There were like 6 of us out the other night, and we bug hunted for like 2.5 hours. In that 2.5 hours, if you count the disconnects by everybody in the group, I'm going to say it was no less than 30 purple pythons, black adders, just straight black screens, or the thing where everything kind of goes dim. It just
it's the menu background.
Yeah, there was at least 30 of those over the course of one evening of hunting with us, and we just love this game, so we put up with some of that stuff and hope that someday this stuff gets fixed. But we've been doing so much bug hunting; these have been bugging me a little bit more. So I was kind of on edge, thinking about taking just a short break from the game so I don't get overly frustrated. Well, last week I wanted to try the modified shard cannons instead of Gauss that I've been using all the time. I've dabbled with the plasmas, but this story is getting longer by the minute. I decided to get the modified shards. I jumped my carrier the 460 light years from where we were fighting in Didio, and I jumped to Maya, where the Bright Sentinel is. So anybody that knows, that's the only place you can get the salvation weapons.
That's not true, but there's one permanent land base and one mega ship. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Either way, it would have even
they're a hike,
more
both
frustrating the other way. But I then hop into a ship with good human weapons in case I get interdicted. I can play with gankers and stuff to fly from my fleet carrier to the Bright Sentinel. I get there and then I go through this process, spend the mats to unlock them, and then you have to buy them and put them on your ship. And you have to do that each time. You unlock, then buy, unlock, then buy, unlock, then buy. It's just extra steps that are just kind of goofy. So I get there and I go to unlock the first cannon, and it's like, oh God, I forgot power converters. So then, then I go over to Inara, find power converters. They're for sale in the system. I'm excited. Yay. I only have to super cruise, for 10 minutes there and back after buying them. Bought exactly what I needed. Went back to the Sentinel, bought my first shard, jumped through the hoops, bought the second until I had 4, and then I'm like, okay, I've got the 4. I go put those 4 into storage and put my ganker fighting weapons back on, and then fly back to my carrier. Get back to my carrier, schedule a carrier jump, and then switch into my bug ship and go to put the shards on, and there's 1. I'm like, wait a minute, I know I bought 4. Transfer that one on, and then look, I'm like, this stupid game. Log off to desktop, come back in thinking they'll be there. Still not there. I'm like, well, am I a moron? What, did I not buy them? I verified my mats are gone. I knew the exact mats because I bought exactly 8 power converters that I would need to have 4 of those. So, okay, my mats are gone. I definitely bought them. Log back into my other ship. Switching ships is always tedious too. Okay, I must have put them into storage. So it's like, oh my God, what a headache. I just, spent an hour and a half going through this adventure to not have what I bought. Now, if it's just human weapons, it's like, I'll just buy more. But these involve mats that you got to travel 1,000 light years to get, 2 carrier jumps and everything else. So I'm very frustrated, already frustrated with the game. So I just log off. I'm like, that's it. I'm taking a break from the game. And Trax goes, well, just put in a ticket. They can fix it for you. I'm like, I've never put in a ticket. In all, more than 3 hours I've played this game, I have never had to put in a single ticket.
Did you just say you've played the game for 3 hours?
That's what he said,
3
yes.
hours. I said in all my over 3 hours.
It's true. He has played the game more
true.
than 3 hours. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've played the game more than 3 hours. So I put in my first ever ticket. That was just figuring out how to put in a ticket took a hot minute, not that bad, but then put in my ticket, blah, 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 get all that stuff logged and everything else. And then, they did get back to me the next day. Well, here's
and then the plot thickens.
Well,
are you going to share their confidential reply to you?
Yes. Oh, I will definitely share my confidential
Oh, shit.
That goes without saying. But
But
here's the
bullshit
thing.
Coming.
First thing they came at me with, though, was that my module limit had been reached. That's why they weren't there. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really make sense. Why did they let me put them into storage? You get that alert that you have to sell something. There's no room in storage.
That sounds like a you problem, FDev.
I'm like, well, that's weird. So I go into it, and sure shit, I'm sitting at like 196. So I did have some open space for modules, but I say, fuck it. I sell, a handful of things that I know I don't need, like a decon limpet module and, stuff that I had been holding on in case.
Prismatic shields. Yeah.
Yeah. That most expensive prismatic shields, got rid of all that stuff. And I then go and log back in, log out, log back in, and they didn't pop in. That was his first ticket suggestion is go sell some modules. It's like, well, fuck you, man. Can't tell me to sell some modules in order to fix your problem. But okay, I sell the modules, don't get my 3 other shards. It's like, send an email back. He comes back and goes, okay, well, I see that they haven't popped in yet. I will refund your mats, and then you can go back and buy the modules.
Okay.
That triggered me right there. It's like, wait a minute.
It's a shitty answer.
Yeah, my time doesn't mean anything. The problem happened when I had to go buy them and then ended up with this bug in the first place. Just give me the damn shard cannons. But I decide I'll just eat it. I'll just go buy the shards. Hopefully this works. Well, here's the kicker. I had already flown my carrier the 500 light years back to the other system. So I'm wasting tritium jumping back there again, wasting time for carrier countdowns, cooldowns, all that bullshit, everything else. And as I'm doing this, I'm just, kind of stewing a little bit. I'm like, really? You couldn't just give me the modules? So
yeah, it's a game. It's a game, whatever. But it's the thing that strikes me about that is like your time. It's the game's fault. Like, it's not like you did something wrong and you're asking for them to cheat for you or give you something extra.
Exactly.
Yep.
And instead it's costing me tritium, costing me time more than anything. That's annoying.
You're not having fun playing the game during this time because you're having to fix the game's mistake that they can't seem to fix on their own.
Yes. So while I'm waiting for carrier jumps and stuff, I send a response back, just kind of a passive-aggressive kind of thing. I send back, hello, I appreciate the help, but it sure would have been nice to not have to jump my carrier back there, then go through the convoluted unlock, then buy hoops again, then jump back. But whatever, it is what it is. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Commander Chig. Didn't ask for a response. I was just letting it be known that I was a little bit annoyed by the whole thing. Wasn't even 5 minutes later, I get a response back. Hi there. If I was able to simply give you back the shard cannons, I would have done so. The best we can do is return the materials. I'm very sorry that's more inconvenient, but the second best thing we but the second best thing would have been not giving you anything.
Whoa.
Now, reminder,
Wow.
Chig did not ask for a response.
Yep.
That
Basically
was
volunteered.
major fucking salt.
Oh, yeah, sent back at me. It's like, well, it was that, or you get nothing, fucker. Is basically the way I read it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it was meant.
Oh my god, I was seeing red when I saw that. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so just. I was already just angry at the game, and then that was the response. I let it go. I'm the bigger man. Even when I got the email asking how my recent experience with my ticket was handled, I didn't respond to it. I'm waiting. I'm really thinking. I think it was Trax who gave the idea that anytime anything goes wrong in the game, I should be emailing this particular service agent every time. Like, the game took 30 seconds to load today. What's going on? Can you help me? And just bug them with everything. My pizza was cold today at lunch. Damn it! Just start sending this person every one of my problems because that was just so. Yeah, I was not a happy camper.
Totally uncalled for
early in the week.
Yeah, totally.
So then I ended up to get more cheer in my life. I started hanging out on the Burr Pit Discord a little bit. They're a bunch of cheery people, so I feel a little bit better about the game. So, but that was my week. That's about the length of our entire show. So I guess we can log out
All right.
and go on our way now.
All right.
Wrap it up. Any other business?
Yeah.
All right. Well, technically, I'm next in the list, so I'll just say I didn't play a whole heck of a lot, but I did. I did do some playing, which was bug hunting because it's all I do now, and it was fun. One night, actually, didn't stream one night because I was a little fed up from the amount of bugs and performance issues that I had the previous time, and I felt like on stream, you're trying to be fun. It's like I feel a little responsible for viewers having fun, right? I need to be a good time, and it was like struggling to do that. And so I thought I'm gonna go play regular. And Mr. J Barron here was there. I think Jello. I saw some people that I don't always see, and that was nice. We went and hunted some bugs too, and it was not so bad. It was better, right? And diced up a Medusa. It was fun. So that was cool. And then I did another stream later than that, and it was pretty much the same crap. Lots of 10 frames per second whenever the Hydra's heart is out. Whatever. We still killed 3 Hydras, so
Yes,
it's fine, I guess. It's fine, I guess. I think I honestly was thinking next time I might, when it comes time to fight the Hydra, I might switch to flat screen for a minute and just because I literally can't even aim. The Hydra agitates all the scouts and they start doing their super moves, and then my CPU and my GPU basically turn off and the game goes 10 frames per second and it has like 30% utilization, and that continues until that heart cycle is done, and then it'll come back and it'll run super smooth, and then it'll all go off again. It's okay. So anyway, maybe I'll try flat screen because my computer can brute force that with only 30% utilization all day long without even turning up the clocks all the way. So anyway, I was also feeling slightly bummed. But the thing I talked about some weeks ago, the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus, the little handheld retro gaming device thing that I ordered, arrived today. And yesterday was my birthday, so I take that as a win. So I took it out of the box a few minutes before starting this and kind of started to set it up a little bit. So I'm excited to play with that. But that's all. And now I'm drifting around this mega ship Herald and listening to you all talk about what Nurgle did this past week. How you doing?
Nothing. That's after
All right,
grinding.
moving on. Oh,
after grinding out Combat Elite, I took a mental break from playing, and then I got back in and decided I'm only about 100 million exploration data away from Exploration Elite, which would make me triple elite. So I jumped out to the ass end of nowhere, and I am scanning planets.
woo.
because that's exhilarating gameplay. And that's pretty much it.
You got to find the fun though. Like scanning planet, you got to go search for the actually beautiful stuff, right?
I did find
Unless you're just in it for the money.
Well, I did find a ringed water world today, but unfortunately it was not a first discovery.
Yeah.
But exploration is not my gig. That's why I haven't been elite exploration long before now. So I am completionisting my way through it.
Gotcha. Well then, you two guys, Jay Barron, you're not on the show very much. We don't get to ask you this question very much. What have you been up to, but only this past week?
Only this past week. Well, aside from, killing bugs and making hundreds of millions of credits and materials. So if you're not killing bugs, you're not picking up the missions, you're not turning in bonds, what are you doing? Because materials and credits are right fucking there.
Reach it, brother.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Fight for humanity.
Exactly. So in light of the news of the transfers, which we'll get to later, I figured, you know what? Now is probably a good time to try and reformat the PlayStation 4, because I do have one of those. And I figured not everybody's got, money for a desktop. So what happens if we try and reformat the PlayStation 4 to be Windows 10? It doesn't work. Short story. It does not fucking work. I deleted all the partitions. I, reformatted the drive because it's just inside the PlayStation 4 is just a laptop hard drive, standard cabling and all of that. Plugged it into the computer, reformatted everything.
Oh, you took it out of the system.
Yup. Took it straight out of the system. Pulled that sumbitch out. Wiped it, and it just beeps at me now. So it doesn't fucking work.
So you didn't Google that before you tried it or anything?
I did actually try and Google it, but the only thing that would come up is
Don't do it.
No. What came up was factory resetting from the official PlayStation website. If you're gonna dispose of or sell the PlayStation, here's how you factory reset it so you delete all your data. That's what came up. So I was like, all right, well, okay, so you boot it up into safe mode and you can just, flash the updates or whatever, and it resets itself. So I tried doing it that way, didn't fucking work. So I was like, oh, well, okay, what if I just wipe the hard drive itself and then boot it up? Nope, won't read it. Like, son of a bitch.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Can't say I'm surprised that Windows doesn't work on it, even though it's just a normal computer. Hard to be surprised by that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And now, Ty, what do you think we should do with Ty here? Should we just do this past week, or should we make him talk about other stuff?
Let him say whatever the hell he wants.
All right.
We'll just mute his mic when he gets too long.
Yeah.
Mr. Ty, if we could, what do you want to tell us about what's been going on with you, brother?
Oh, there's been a lot going on. We're kind of in and out in game, and God, there's, I'll just say this.
Let me cut you off for just one sec. You're giving this a real AA meeting vibe for some reason. you need to cheer up a little bit.
Well, let me just say this. Like so this last week, I spent some time in Star Citizen of all things.
Gross.
And so let me tell you, I made a real strong effort this time playing Star Citizen to really dive into their mission system. Like, I wanted to do all their missions that they possibly could. And let me tell you, brothers, I think out of the maybe 30 or so missions that I tried, I think I actually accomplished one, which was like you put a box into the UPS box and then move on with your life. It's quite amazing how ridiculously broken that game is. And then I kind of come back over here to Elite and start playing this and start doing their missions. And there's a lot of broken stuff in Elite right now, but man, at least you can do things.
It's not nearly as broken.
It's pretty bad, but it's nowhere nearly as broken. I have kind of decided to put some time into actually upgrading my suits, which I never really got around to doing because I was so irritated with the lack of, I don't know, a functional game upon Odyssey release. So, and for the record, my vet is still ugly. It's still ugly. It still has this dumbass core dynamic shit on the front, and it's got to go. It's got to go.
He wants it debadged.
Got to fucking go. It's not a Mercedes. Get this shit off the front.
Ruining your immersion.
That makes me think of these admiral interviews that were going on, the mega ships that are deployed from each superpower in the incursion systems right now. They did this whole thing with interviewing the admirals and stuff. It's sort of cool lore content, right? But the guy from the Federation kind of made a big deal about how everything in the Federation is function over form, and they don't care how things look, and they're almost intentionally ugly because a true soldier would steer away from the pretty stuff anyway. He sort of says something to that effect, and it made me think of that.
That's fine. That it doesn't need a Core Dynamics logo. That's literally the size of a fucking SRV on the front of it. It doesn't need that.
All right. Cool. Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
We hope we see more of you going on here for
indeed.
us for a spell.
One other quick thing I want to say is that I've recently been I've been thinking a lot about Elite and kind of what happened yesterday, which we'll get into in a minute, and kind of the everything. And I've reached out to my game developer buddy who doesn't work with Riot no more. He has actually accepted another job. He doesn't want me to say who he's with, but he's shed some light.
It's
on
OnlyFans, isn't it?
Yeah.
No. He still works for a game developer. It's a high end game developer, but he does not want me to say who yet. So, but he's working on a game that I'm very excited about. So I'm hoping to get a beta. So.
So you're just teasing it here, and then maybe your friend won't be able to turn you down now for a beta, right? Because you did it all public.
No, I mean, well, I kind of had like a whole thing I wanted to kind of get into, and then I kind of want to think about it a little bit more before I get into it. So,
all right, fair enough. Okay, so so there's stuff going on. Let's get to it here, and I see no reason to not start with let's see, please. Oh, something's going wrong with my sound player. It's angry with me.
Well, you didn't let him talk about his week.
Incoming priority message. Squadron briefing.
Was not the intro I was expecting. All right, so in the past week, we have executed a picture-perfect expansion into LHS 3877 with its lovely 2.8 billion population. If you have not gone and checked that system out yet, it is a rare double binary star system, and all the planets orbit all 4 stars. Everything is in with like I think the furthest thing out is about 8,000 light seconds. All the stations and everything are in close. It's a pretty cool system. It's one of the neater systems, at least close to us, that's around. We are currently 1-0 up in an election for control of Lambda Andromeda. Again, this is the 5th go-around in Lambda. And right now, we're calm everywhere else. We're going to continue to concentrate on staying out of another absurd expansion cycle for a little while so we can kind of consolidate control of the systems we have, get some bug hunting in, and not have to worry about unrestrained expansion again. So all of that, right before we recorded tonight, I got all of that updated on the standing orders in the BGS section of the Discord. So you can go there, you can check out the specifics on everything that's going on. If you have any questions about what's going on, you can either reach out to me or Hate directly, or you can put a question in the faction, the Loose Screws faction subsection of the Discord, and that's what's going on.
All right. Sweet. Thanks. So now let's I understand we're going to start doing Chig chat again. So let's see. I'm going to play one of my Chig chat sounds. Let's go old school.
It's Chig chat. Yeah, that's a fact. It's Chig chat. Where the cheese at?
We here at Loose Screws never end a sentence with a preposition.
I love that.
I forgot about
That's
that.
the original.
And there's no 2-minute cut of that? Come on.
Oh my god. So we've decided to start actually doing a Chig chat again, and it's going to be just congratulating people on in-game accomplishments. So if anything awesome happens, GARC.
Don't worry about it. Yeah,
Man. Okay.
Bot failed.
Apparently GARC doesn't give a shit what you guys have done in game. It's just leaving when I start talking about it. But So you need to post this stuff in Chig Chat. We'll try to pay attention and get things that aren't listed there too if you don't get around to posting it there. But no promises. I'll mention it if it's not there, because I am old. My brain is pickled. I did a lot of boozing earlier today, so my brain does not function, as well as most people's. So this is just a few to mention this week. One, I'm gonna congratulate Nurgle on his elite. I know we mentioned it on the show a little while ago, but he said it earlier in the show, so I'll always mention it at that point. Again, good job, Nergs. You're now triple elite, right?
No, he said he's working on that.
Oh no, he's
the exploration part.
Oh, exploration. So he's dual elite, and now he's working on triple. Okay, well good. That's very noobish of him, but we'll let it slide. He's not here, so I can say whatever I want about him, apparently. So then, after that, I gotta give DJ Wiley props. He hit elite in face gunning. Also, I think it's the mercenary one is what it is. So he's quad elite these days, making a lot of progress. Yes, and a lot of people are really worried about him because he's been like one of the biggest fans of this game any of us know, and he's in every community I know of. Every Discord I'm in, he's in, because he just loves talking about elite and everything else. And before the announcement yesterday, people were genuinely concerned about him and how he would take it if it was bad news. So it went okay yesterday for him, and he seems to be doing good. But he's quad elite. Then we've got we have to congratulate Trax on hitting elite in combat. So he is triple elite now, which is great work, buddy.
Thank you.
Last one I'm going to bring up is Lark Shadow. He's dangerous in combat now, so we're mentioning that, which is actually pretty damn impressive, because I'm pretty sure he's flying like a porta potty with mining lasers as his meta build at the moment, because we also found out he didn't know what meta meant really.
So use the M word around him.
Lark, when he finds out that people think a particular gun is like good, or a particular ship is useful at a certain task, he'll immediately sell that ship or gun.
Yes, and yeah, and everything's meta except the weird shit he does. So it is entertaining. We love you, buddy. What was the line a few weeks ago? Most of my best friends are Lark Shadows. That's right. The truth right there. So that'll be Chig Chat, and we'll try to get more. You get yourself an elite, or I guess even a dangerous. You can come get your name mentioned on the show. Oh, I got another one I can mention. Hate finally got his second carrier. Congratulations, I guess, you son of a bitch. So now he got a carrier specifically for like our BGS stuff and all that stuff. And he was kind enough to put up a buy order for Tritium at like give me Tritium for free prices. So if you feel like giving him Tritium, you can find his carrier.
Put it up for good money. What a jerk!
Yeah. It's impressive. Like 15% of galactic average or something is what he's got it on there. The guy who owns 2 carriers needs free Tritium, you people. Yeah.
Oh my God! Hey, I'll tell you what, everybody. There's a standing buy order on my carrier, which I check regularly in case I need to increase the capacity. For 200% galactic average. I never want to buy Tritium again, so if anybody ever wants to deliver that Tritium to somebody who's willing to pay for it, go find Hans Intuition. It's in Didio.
So that's Chig Chat of the night. I guess it's really me just giving people crap, but we'll see how this goes as the weeks go by. Back to you.
I've just discovered that my Phantom and Chig's Phantom are the same speed, because I spent that whole segment trying to crash into him until he started flying straight backwards, and now I can't catch him.
And the best part of that hate story is he posted the buy order for that Tritium at like 7,000 per ton, and somebody, I'm not in the Discord right now, or I'd look, somebody came back a little while later. It's like, hey, I'd like to get you some Tritiums. Could you chase the price to something that's not poverty wages?
He's like, I'm taking a bath on this to the tune of like 30,000 per ton.
Yeah,
33 million credits or something he was going to lose to give Mr. Two Carriers tritium.
I have 2 carriers now. Pay me to put tritium on them.
yeah.
Oh God. Oh, that's the worst. That's terrible. Terrible end to the worst. All right. Next segment, I don't have a sound for. So what do I play? Let's see.
You did a bad thing.
Okay. There. I played some random snippet I must have cut out of some episode with Nurgle.
I can sing. You want me to sing?
Yeah, I want you to sing. Do it. We're gonna introduce the Blame the Bard segment, Galnet commentary. Give us a song about that.
The bard, blame him for the Galnet commentary.
Mic off.
That's all I got.
Fucking
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Did a bad thing.
So anyway, that's the best you're gonna get.
All right.
Bard, take it away.
Then, welcome aboard the Tinhadium Express. Lots to cover this week, so for the sake of time, let's jump into it. On April 28th, we have 2 stories. Sirius starts initiative to give the Alliance aids, and Booty Hunt for Thargoids begins. On April 29th through May 1st, Sanderlin gets full frontal access to admirals. On May 2nd, the Empire still wants to get in bed with the Marlinists. It uses Thargoids as excuse. On May the 4th be with you, Zach Rackham denies allegations of being a Sith Lord. And on Cinco de Mayo, Sirius claims victory delivering aids to Alliance while independent pilots continue victory over Thargoids, and Palin looks for victory against Thargoids with meta-alloys. That's all for this week. Have fun out there.
Wait a minute. Did you say a Sissy Lord is delivering aids to people?
Yeah.
He said a Sith Lord.
I thought he said a Sissy
Instead
Lord.
of may the Force be with you, may the Fourth be with you. So obviously a thing with a lisp. I gotta do it with a lisp.
Really good. Really good. Really good.
I just want to go on a record here saying that number one, I'm really tired of all these Star Wars, and nobody in here, by the way, but I thought about this the other day. I feel like there's a lot of Star Wars posers that are out there just going, it's May the 4th, we're cool. And then for a while there, I was hearing a lot of people like, today's Revenge of the 5th. And let me tell you right now, with The Mandalorian, this is the May.
This is the May.
Yep. Being part of the problem since 2022. Okay. Well, that was great. Thanks. So now we're down to it. We've gotten rid of all the fluff, and now it's nothing but pure, uncut dev news.
What people probably wanted to hear our opinions about. The only reason they logged in, and we just jibber-jabbered for an hour already.
How long have we been recording?
I don't know.
Anyways. So the stream popped off. I even and lots of other people had like I'm better than everybody. Did you guys hear that? I even had theories about them moving the stream to Wednesday, about how it was going to happen before the tick and all this stuff. And then it was like they come on, and why they couldn't say this earlier, I don't know. But like there's a scheduling conflict because the other Warhammer game was supposed to come out on Thursday, and they had to use the stream for something else.
Bills is going tomorrow, so we're going on Wednesday.
Yeah. So anyway, no reason other than that it went on Wednesday. But here's what we got. Console transfers. Well, console transfers aren't happening. Sorry. But they're going to do console copies, which is in a lot of ways better. Probably in every way better. So that was a little joke I did. It's not funny. So anyway, so here's the details. I'm gonna run it down. And then we're gonna discuss. The transfers are a copy. That means it basically includes everything that is reasonable to include. And it does not delete your console commander. A commander just appears on PC, and you may have to change the name unless your name isn't taken. for some reason. They also give you a free copy of Horizons on PC. We're checking off everything on my list. Like I said, it includes basically everything that you could possibly. I can't think of anything that would be reasonable to include that they didn't. What it doesn't include, your ARCs, which is bound to happen. Squadron memberships, those aren't cross-platform, so obviously friends lists and all kinds of shit like that. Obviously, that like your friends are not your friends were on the platform, so current mission progress. Okay, not a big deal. Your NPC crew comes and their progress comes, but their name and appearance is probably going to be different. So they're going to regenerate a crew member with exactly the right progress for you over on PC. That's the thing. Like it's you've got, if you had unique ships like Cobra 4s, you've got that. Your cosmetics, you've got that. You can't bring your ARCs, so the simple answer is you got to spend those ARCs on cosmetics because your cosmetics will come over. Job done. And I somebody was asking. They have a bunch of ARCs that they bought and wanted to spend on Odyssey cosmetics. How do they do that? And I think you can do that on the website. And somebody said, yes, you can. Is that right?
Yeah, the DLC.frontier store, or whatever the hell it is. I want to say it's dlc.frontierstore.net or .com or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you log in before you buy anything.
Log in as your console self, and
right. And make sure that your console account is linked before you do it. But as soon as you do it, it will. So
you'll have it even though you don't have Odyssey. You'll have the cosmetics within it.
Right now, I don't think they'll be visible though. So like, if you right, yeah.
But you'll have the purchase. You'll have the purchase history and email and in your Frontier account and stuff. So yeah. So I mean, that's it. Fleet carriers don't come over, but you liquidate that. And then the credits will come over, you rebuy on the other side. And then, frankly, your console commander will still exist, so you can then go rebuy your other fleet carrier. So that's the gist of it. Have at it. What do you think, everybody? Does this meet your needs? Does this meet your expectations? Does it exceed?
Oh, they nailed it. They nailed it. I mean, when we discussed this a long time ago, I think our criteria were it has to be a full transfer of everything, including progress. It should include at least a copy of Horizons, and it would be nice if they had some cosmetic to celebrate, their origin, their console of origin. They hit all three of those because there's already a console specific.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, they've nailed all three of those. I'm extremely happy that they didn't fumble the ball on this like they have on so many other things. They nailed it. I think they did a great job.
Mm-hmm. We're all going to agree on that, right? Somebody else, go.
Okay, so I completely agree. They nailed it as far as the actual what they're going to be able to move over and all that. And I think it's really cool that they're doing a copy to where you can keep your existing commander on the console.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, though. So I can't remember the date they announced they were canceling the console. I want to say it was like in February. I don't remember the exact date. But they announced they were going to cancel it. And then it took them this much time before they said, oh, yeah, we're going to let you copy it over. It really feels like they put the cart before the horse.
Oh, yeah.
That's where they screwed up.
Yeah, it's inexcusable that they didn't have this answer already sorted out before they made the announcement. Absolutely.
I mean, all they had to do was basically say, hey, you know what? We're canceling consoles. We're going to let you copy your stuff over. We don't have the details on that yet. Wait for that to come.
Right.
That's all they had to do. It completely mishandled it.
Yeah. I agree. Do you think it had to have been legal?
No.
More than technical? No.
I think they just didn't have a plan.
Yeah. I think that they were a little shocked by the amount of pushback on it, by the amount of people being upset about it. That's what I think. And
that would be shocking.
The technical aspects on the Xbox side and PlayStation side, the Xbox side, there's probably very few technical aspects. Sony's kind of a bitch. All right. Everything I've ever been told is Sony is really difficult to work with when it comes to stuff like this. So,
but all the important data resides on FDev server.
Yeah, but there's still an integration there that has to take place, and I don't quite know how that works. But I will say this: them not moving the ARCs there's flat out legal reasons why that is.
Yeah.
Flat out, because there's probably ways you could probably launder money that way if they let you do that. So I don't know how that would work. They said
during the stream specifically, though, that data was, in the different locations, and that was part of the challenge they were having to overcome. And I
they did say some of it was on the local machine. I can't imagine
local machine. Some was on the platform specific. I don't know, because they might need to store things because of the peer-to-peer networking that they do and stuff. There might be certain things. I don't know how any of it works, but
and I don't quite know how it all works either. So I spent about 2 hours last night talking with my game developer buddy. All right, it's actually after I talked with Chig a little bit on Discord yesterday, and then I hung up the phone with you and then got on the phone with him because I wanted to know some things. And he's never worked on a console game, but one of the things he told me is that
so you learned nothing.
one of the things he told me is that Sony is a bitch to work with on these things.
Yeah, and that's really not news.
Yeah. So, and Microsoft is real easy to work with on these things, and
because they're cross-platform.
Yeah. Even though, like you said, like all the stuff exists on the Frontier servers. No, it don't. I don't quite know what it does, but there is an authentication piece on the Sony side that has to let you be able to play online. That then ties back into a Frontier server, and then there is a piece that still sits on the Sony side to let you do certain things, which is why you can't log into a Frontier server if Sony Online, whatever the hell it is down, or PlayStation Online, or whatever the hell it's called. And it's I don't quite know. In my mind, it's like, this is all database shit. It should be real easy to move over.
Yeah,
because like that shit I do every day.
Yeah,
Yeah, just pull the drive out of your PlayStation, install Windows on it. You're a PC now.
Yep. Right?
Easy peasy.
At the end of the day, it's all just zeros. It's all just data inside of a database, so it should be real easy to move over. But apparently, PlayStation's kind of a bitch about it. So, but like I said, he's never worked on a console game, but he gave me some insight on some other things. I got a whole diatribe in my head about it that I want to talk about, but I'm not going to do it on this episode. I might actually make a little thing I talk about at some point and just throw it in the podcast playlist. I don't know. So
special episode.
Or I might do it next week. So
Worsham interviews himself.
I just want to get it in my head before I talk about it, because I want to make sure I'm not going to say something he doesn't want me to say, because what he's working on now is a lot more tight-lipped than what it was before. So
tight lips, but you say it's not OnlyFans.
No.
Okay.
Phrasing.
Okay, my thoughts on the whole stream thing. It was one thing I noticed, maybe because I was anxious to hear what they were saying. Bruce looked really nervous at the beginning of that. I mean, his hands were fidgety. I was really expecting bad news as I was watching.
They made me so nervous.
Yeah, they were going through the other stuff they were talking about and everything before they finally got to the news, and I thought Bruce was going to have a stroke at one point as I was watching it. But that was interesting to watch, and I have never been anxious for a stream ever. That this was the first time I was for this game, because I really, it's like, if they fuck this up with how upset people are right now, this could finally be, one of the final nails in the coffin.
Yeah, it would have been ugly.
Yeah, but then they gave the news they did about consoles, which was great. I felt great relief. And then they give this kind of thing. Yeah, there's going to be update 12, 13, 14. Okay, so they're going to continue working on the game. Great. That's good news too. Okay, and that's it. You literally just did the absolute bare minimum to give me a touch of relief. Nothing new. They were really in a position there to just hit one out of the park. If they'd have come out with something, if they'd had a dev on, heaven forbid they, dust off David Braben and have him come in and say something and reassure people. There were so many things they could have done. They just kept it as simple as possible. And it's this constant, I don't know, almost out of touch with how to avoid extreme disappointment in their fans, and B, how to generate excitement. They just don't know how to do either one of those. I mean, it was already brought up, but how when they delayed or when they canceled console stuff, if right after that they say, but we are going to allow transfers of accounts, we're working out the details. If this announcement would have been at the time that they canceled consoles, the amount of salt would have been way less. Would there have still been salt?
Yeah.
Yes. But
it would have been a fraction. Yeah, it would have been a fraction. Yeah.
And then like last week when they canceled this week's stream, but didn't say anything, and then the next day they come back, oh, we're going to give you news on console transfers and game development next week. If they'd have done that right after they said, next week's stream is canceled because we are doing a stream next week that's going to give you a bunch of news, it would have been perfect. Instead, they gave everybody like this 24 hours just to rage and get angry and yell and scream. And I know, I mean, there's that like parable where you've got an old couple walking a donkey. Yes, I'm going off on kind of a Thai worship kind of random thing here. But, you know, they're walking beside the donkey and people see them walking and people point and laugh and say, oh, look at those idiots. They don't know they can ride a donkey. So then they both get on the donkey. And then people point and laugh saying, oh, that poor donkey, he can't carry that much weight. So then the husband walks beside while the wife rides the donkey, and people laugh and point and say, oh my God, what an idiot. He's the man. He should be on the donkey. So then he does that. Then he's an asshole for making his wife walk. You know, it's just, you can't please everybody no matter what you do. But you can make a lot of people really happy most of the time if you just don't do stupid shit like making a terrible bad news announcement without a single bit of good news. Just throw the sugar on top after you, well, shit on our feet. You know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
The we're canceling the stream and we don't know when it's coming back. And then a lot of people, including Obsidian Ant, press them about it. And Bruce literally responds, we told you the exact words we meant to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, we specifically am not telling you why or when it's coming back. And then 24 hours later, the announcement exists. So
in hindsight, then, were they being assholes on purpose or were they just ignorant?
No, the way I interpret that is we were under specific orders not to give you any information. Yeah. And then there was a huge backlash, and they probably went to whoever gave them those specific orders and said, see, we told you this was a bad idea. And then 24 hours later, they get the green light to say something.
I feel like I've been extremely confident before about that the CMs are gagged and the problem is not them. I have never been more confident about that than I am now because of that message. Like the way Bruce said that so quickly and said it so specifically, it's like, yes, this is exactly what I was told to tell you. And it's like he's throwing it in the faces of their boss. I mean, can't confirm, but like, come on.
That message was the equivalent of a hostage blinking in a video.
Yeah.
The only other thing in my mind that it could have been was that's exactly what we're supposed to tell you because we're going to have to go to a meeting right after this to find out if we're going to continue with this game.
No, but it's not that. No, because look, they have this graphic. I mean, like we haven't really talked about it yet, but like we've got this roadmap, which like Chig saying, you can't please everybody. Like, I think this is fucking fine for a roadmap, by the way. I'll you know.
Well, keep in mind, they specifically said this wasn't a roadmap. Like, they said this is not a roadmap. This is just our general idea of how we're going to go forward.
It shows a path with branches to destinations they want to get to. That sounds literally.
I'm with you, but those are their words, not mine.
Well, I'm happy with it. I think like, and I get like you could put more detail into something, and some companies do, and some companies don't. I don't care personally that much about it, but I'm the guy who I absolutely could not care one lick about a single bit of content until we get these horrible performance bugs fixed. That's the only thing I care about. Absolutely only thing. Everybody else can talk about, new ships. Sure, I'll be excited if a new ship comes out. I don't care a single bit. I want absolutely nothing else until that. But that's just me. So I see a roadmap like this and I'm like, okay, well, we've got a year's worth of development plan. That ought to put a cork in some of the bullshit going on YouTube right now. That's basically the only thing I care about. As far as that's concerned, is maybe I'll have to see fewer doom and gloom videos. Oh, but guess what? People, some prominent you know what? I am going to talk about this. Fuck
Go for it.
Some prominent YouTubers, I think, made some very questionable videos, and it made me think, what fucking stream were you watching, dude? Because I watched FDev do exactly what they should have done and exactly what everyone was asking for, and sure, the crowd still erupted in rage because you can't please everybody. And basically, you should have seen our Discord general chat that day because it was just amazing. Like, as soon as they put a roadmap out, it was like everybody who'd asked for a roadmap the previous week was like, yeah, but. So I was like, okay, well, I think you're just determined to be upset, and you're a little stuck in that feeling. But I mean, here we have quarterly updates with stuff on it, and the details are as light as there's a new mission, there's stability and optimizations. Now there's some narrative stuff and stability and stuff. Okay, great, whatever. That's fine. I don't care. It proves that they have stuff's going on. It basically proves it. But then, of course, that when I said this is it. This is what you asked for. This proves that they're working on it. The response to my comment was, I'll believe it when I see it. It's like, okay, so now you want them to say something, but if they do, you're not going to believe them. So actually, you don't want them to say something. You want them to just deploy it into the game. So then why were you complaining about them saying anything? So anyway,
the biggest thing that roadmap did was it showed that they actually have a plan, which was something that was not entirely evident before this. Mm-hmm. So, it wasn't as detailed a roadmap as I probably would have liked to have seen, but it's fine as it is, and it shows that they have a plan, and I'm good with that.
Mm-hmm. Play devil's advocate, though. That roadmap somebody could have sketched out on a napkin 5 minutes before the stream, and then
and I'm sure they did
a graphic real quick. But
it's fine.
But I agree with Trax on the fact that the most important thing for me is fixing performance and stability, and that's listed in everything. And for me right now, it's stability more than performance. I want the crashes to stop, but that's because I have stupid good hardware and I kind of overpower the frame drops and stuff. So that's not as big of a problem for me. And we always are going to care about, what's affecting us most. And I think a lot of people that, don't have a lot of the problems aren't doing the things that are the most network or hardware intensive. They're not playing in a group. They're not, fighting bugs. They're not doing ground CZs, the stuff that really taxes a system, or the multiplayer stuff where you really get your blue cobras and stuff. If you're not doing that stuff, this game runs pretty smooth, especially if you're playing solo. This game runs pretty damn smooth.
It's really hard to call yourself an MMO if your multiplayer is unstable.
Yeah.
Well, we personally, myself and a few others, have been feeling it, I think, worse than many people because we've been doing nothing but Thargoid content. And Thargoid content has had, traditionally in this game, a sort of higher concentration of game bugs than other aspects of the game. And I do feel like it's gotten a little worse with whatever changed with the last CG that was added last couple of weeks, but can't exactly prove it, I guess. But you get like this sort of buggy situation, this complex combat mechanic that's different than a normal just NPC's decision tree, right? It's all this other stuff. I think that's why it's so buggy. Conflict zones, which frankly are a little buggy even when they're human conflict zones. So then we add Thargoids to the mix. They're all buffing each other with superpowers and doing weird things and, triggering different procedural moves and stuff like that. And then you add the more commanders you add to it, and then it's a worst possible case scenario, and that's what we've been dealing with. So I understand that I am dealing with the buggiest part of this game, and most people don't have it as bad.
So you're saying the bugs are buggy?
All right, but here's the deal about Thargoid combat.
You didn't say mic on.
Oh, my God. Okay. Here's the thing about Thargoid combat. Does anybody know the date Thargoid combat was added to the game?
Sometime
long before
before
my
yesterday.
I believe it was year 2, and then we're on year 8 of this game, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like
I
that.
said traditionally the buggiest.
You're right.
That means it's been around for a long time.
Right. My point is that this shit's been around for a while, and they still don't have Thargoid combat sorted out.
Yeah. Well, it's been around for a long
and-
time, but it's also not the most common. Like it's hard. It's something you have to work to get into. So it's not the thing that most of the population is doing at any time.
Well, then it should be easy to fix. If the smallest population is not doing it, then it should take them. They should be able to go in there. Oh, well, here's the network problem that's causing the problem. We should be able to fix this because there's not a lot of people doing it.
Well, it took them like 5 years to get the invincible heart bug to go away. They finally fixed that, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. It's insane. And that was in there for years.
I want to say that wasn't fixed until December or January this year, but I might be wrong. So
yeah, it was
after Odyssey.
Yeah, it was after Odyssey for sure, and they finally fixed that, and that had to do with people logging in from different regions playing together was causing that.
Right,
so,
and that's the thing. It's a reaction of the Thargoids game mechanics to people from different regions logging in at different times. That's how complicated it was, and that's why. Well, whatever. I don't know the actual source of every single bug we're experiencing, but that's definitely indicative of why we're experiencing a higher concentration than a lot of players. So
yeah, there's a couple of things that are kind of telling to me on this little guide, or this little, we'll call it a roadmap. So the May and August update specifically lists stability and optimization. The November update, after they come out with the narrative content in August, just says stability. So I guess we're going to give up on optimization at that point.
Well, no, on the stream,
it'll be fully optimized.
There's other details. Like on the stream, they felt like they're going to be hitting those hard for the next 2 updates, and they ought to be in a good place. So that's aspirational at worst and optimistic at best. They're hoping to be basically performant the way they ought to be by then.
Right.
They said.
So,
yeah.
So here's kind of what I'm reading. The May update, and this is, kind of what was told to me as well. The May update should be about the first update where they don't have to account for the consoles. Okay.
Right. Assuming they were kind of bringing that along in the background.
Right. Okay. So you have to kind of think about it from like a developer point of view. At some point, when they were noticing they were having so many problems, they moved those Xbox, PlayStation developers, because they probably had a small team working on that. You figured that they would move them over to the PC side and like, all right, we're going to focus on this and get this shit done.
That's true. You could just take those guys, teach them how to pull a drive out and format it with Windows, and throw them in the mix.
So you have to kind of assume that at some point that, they announced the console cancellation in, I believe it was February. And so March, April, May, that's 3 months. I'm going to assume that their May update 12 will be the first one where they're not really looking at, well, we need to kind of wrangle this in for console, or we need to leave this in for console. So that will be kind of a telling update as to how the optimization will take place in the future, in my opinion.
That's interesting.
That is.
Yeah, well, so my thought on that then is that I see my pet issue here as being possibly the main reason why this just won't run on consoles, because it has this fundamental flaw in the game engine that requires sort of brute force level hardware to get past it. And I honestly thought it was a little worrying with regard to that when they gave up on console, because it was like, oh, they're really not going to figure this major problem out. I'm really never going to have performant VR in Odyssey. But So you seem to take it the other way. Maybe it was, well, I guess we'll see is what's happening, right? If we'll see if this update suddenly the small 2 frames here, 5 frames there, incremental performance advancements suddenly turn into 10, 15% advancements, then we'll know that they were being held back.
So the way I look at it is like this. So there's like a resource allocation of like programmers and developers that they theoretically, we're guessing here, of course, theoretically could have moved off from the console development side and poured them into the PC side, because you have to assume that in the background they've been working on it, because they're like, we got to figure this shit out. We got to get this working. Yeah. So if they cancel that part, well, they're not just going to let them sit there and not pay them. They're going to move them to something else. So either they moved them on to another game that they're working on,
like Warhammer,
right? Or they moved them over to work on the PC side of Elite. And I'm really leaning more toward that, because that kind of makes more sense, because that's their world anyway. So
sure. Oh yeah, I don't realistically think like an Elite developer was just like, oh, Tuesday you're going to be working on this game,
right? And actually, I can speak to that a little bit as far as like moving around to different games, because I've been told how that process is, and it's basically a nightmare. When you switch from game to game, you basically have to relearn a whole new coding language every single time, even though it's still the same stuff. It's like, hey, today I want you to learn to program Word, and tomorrow I'm going to get you to program in C++. It's that kind of a shift, is literally. But anyway, so when they move those resources back to work on that, the other part of that is that now they're going, okay, so we don't have to take these little pieces of code out, or we don't have to limit ourselves to these consoles. We can actually pour ourselves into this part. We can make this or here work better. We can make this or here work better, because we don't have to have all the little processes in the background on this core, because the PlayStation 4 limits us to these 3 cores or 4 cores or whatever it is. They're going to have more room to play with. The problem with that is that if they're looking at it from the point of view like, well, now I have 8 cores and a 12700K to play with here with a 2080 Ti or 3090. I mean, is that the hardware that they're expecting us to play on? Or are they really scaling it back to their minimum specs?
Well, no, they already have a spec, and they're trying to work to where that spec performs better. But yeah. I think you're making, I understand your points.
Yeah. And the thing about the hardware spec, I would love to find someone who has their minimum hardware specs and see how it actually plays. I would love to that, because I was in a combat zone last night.
I'm pretty close to it. I am pretty close to the minimum spec.
How does it, like, what kind of frames do you actually see?
In space or on the ground?
We'll start with space.
Space, it performs essentially like Horizons in space.
Okay.
Every now and then, with some of the really fancy new explosions and stuff, you'll get some stutter. But it more or less it performs essentially like Horizons in space. I do.
So it's fine, but except for stutter. Yeah. So that's very similar to what I see as well.
Yeah. I mean, if I get a full wing in a combat zone, I'll get a little bit more stutter than I would expect to see. But it's still totally playable. It's not an issue. Now, I personally have not done anything on the ground in like 4 or 5 updates, so I'm not even going to speak to what that's like. But early on, the ground performance was pretty miserable.
Yeah. Well, I did a combat zone last night. In fact, I did 2 combat zones last night. And, I got 32 gigs of RAM, I got 2080 Ti, I got a 10700K, and I'm getting 30, 25 frames in a combat zone.
Yeah.
And I look over at my GPU utilization, and it's like at 60%. And my CPU utilization is like at 30%. And I'm like, push it, go.
Why won't
that
you
right
use
there's
it?
the problem.
That's it. On that note, sounds like as good a time as any to remind our faithful listeners to head on down to the show notes and click the issue tracker link right here where it says, remember to vote up the GPU utilization issue on the tracker. We've broken the top 10, everybody. Applause, applause, applause. Woo-hoo! Currently sitting at number 9. And yeah, it's gaining traction. And as I said last week, and I'll repeat again, I decided, but when we broke the top 10, I decided last week to write a support ticket and see what they would say. And the response didn't seem like a complete blow off. So it was either a better than expected lie or it wasn't a blow off.
So you didn't get Chig's guy then, huh?
I didn't compare names, but I don't think so. But they invited me to, they basically said that this is like an internal investigation. It felt like they knew about the issue tracker issue before I wrote to them. So it had been noticed is what it felt like. And they said, we don't have any details right now, but it's an ongoing investigation and check back in 1 to 2 weeks, which I intend to do. I'll check back middle of next week and report if I get any info, because that will have been 2 weeks. And who knows? Maybe they're actually working on it. Maybe I actually managed to provide information that's useful to them, because I know it can be difficult to sort out bugs sometimes, and perhaps we actually collectively provided enough reliable information to point them in the right direction. Let's hope. That's all I have.
That would be cool.
All I have is hope. Yeah, because I think this would improve the game on every computer. It's the issue is visible on every single computer we've looked for it on. Some people who say they're being fully utilized. Well, if you turn the graphics down enough, you will see the same thing. You get it to the point where your computer can reliably push past it and brute force to get to the frame rates. You will see the utilization drop off instead of the frame rate continuing to go up. So anyway, that's that. The only other thing that I was going to say is, during the stream it might be worth watching if you're interested in this sort of thing. The first half of it basically is about this, and then they go into the Let's Play. And they mentioned that streams going forward are going to go back to Thursdays, but they're going to be every other week, which is something they've tried before. So they're going back to every other week to try to make the content a little more juicy, worthwhile. I don't know. I guess they were, the way I see it, it's not like the content's really going to be any different. It's just that there are now 50% as many opportunities for people who are going to complain about anything no matter what to complain about anything no matter what. So they're going to do every other week. They would like to have guests. They're going to go back to trying to get guests, devs to talk about things and stuff like that. And it seems like, from all they were saying, a little bit more of a return to a pre-December stream style, which is fine. I don't care. I wasn't mad about these streams, frankly, because community engagement is community engagement, and that's a perfectly valid reason to have a stream. They don't owe us dev news just because they're doing a stream. And frankly, it was the fact that they ever did that in the first place that got us demanding it. And I don't know. I don't care one way or the other. The info is going to come when it comes, but. Anyway, this is their way of dealing with it. So there's a link to the forum thread that talks about everything that we talked about today, although I copied most of the important info into the show notes anyway.
One problem with them, starting the streams up like they did, though, is they went radio silence for how long, and then they come back and just do fluff streams. Everybody was like,
they didn't directly explain, right? Yeah.
They just came back and said, all right, we're back, and we're just gonna play the game badly for you to watch. It was so weird. It was
we're gonna look at your screenshots and make some jokes about green screens and do some CQC or exploration or something.
And say thick fogoid booty.
That's the sound that won't play right now. I get an error. I gotta go look at my soundboard.
You gotta fix your shit.
Yeah, it's complaining, and it says that I need to send this audio file to the app developer. His error message is telling me to send it to. I've talked to this guy before because he's just like one person. One person makes this soundboard app, and I'm on their Discord, and I just talk to him sometimes. But Apparently, I need to send them this audio file because it played every other time I've tried to use it. Anyway,
I'd feel weird if somebody just sent me that audio file.
I know with no context, I'm going to send him Bruce Garrido saying "thick Thargoid booty."
Restraining order incoming.
That's a quick way to get banned from that Discord.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not sure what I'm supposed to do with this.
Yeah, weird. Anyway, is there anybody else would like to add some info to this podcast?
I'm going to go on Kai Zen's show tomorrow evening, along with longtime Discord person from here, Roy Cookson, will be on there. Adaxius from our Discord will be there.
That's quite a title. Sorry, longtime podcast. What was it? Longtime Discord person.
Yeah, I think that's what we're calling Roy. I could have just mentioned this Coleman again.
Friend of the show. Friend of the show.
With colon. The man with the longest colon in the Discord. I don't know what to call you, Roy. Sorry. But
that's Black Sky Legion, right?
Yes, Black Sky Legion. Astro is going to be there, so I'm looking forward to talking to him after, his stream or his short video yesterday talking about the stream. So I'm kind of eager to talk to him about that and see if he's still as upset as he seemed to be yesterday. So he'll be there. Kai will be there. Usual people, but also Souverine, longtime listeners of Lave Radio. Souverine's come back out from the wild, and he's going to be on that show tomorrow to talk about all things Elite, but they also cover other games that I don't care about at all. So we'll see how that goes.
Maybe this is planning to be an Elite-focused stream or show, considering
I would
guests
hope so.
that they're having. Yeah.
And then on another note, people who keep asking when I'm going to be on Flight Assist, I was scheduled to record my episode of that yesterday, but that a personal issue came up for one of the hosts of that show, and they had to delay. But I am scheduled to record my interview with that, and that should be out May 22nd or 29th. Just that I'd mention that now, so you guys can quit bugging them. Apparently, they're harassed. Kidding, you guys are great. And that's the only kind of news thing I have. And then if anybody else doesn't have anything, then I can jump in with movies and cheeses. But
and cheesy movies.
The announcement that Ty is going to start coming on every other week. He promised.
Yes,
I didn't say that shit at all.
Trying to put you on the spot. Trying to
like your voice.
Get a commitment.
No, I am. Time is freeing up on my side, or it looks like it will, at least for a few months. So I'm going to try to come back in as much as possible, but I really don't want to mess with y'all's. I mean, y'all got a real good dynamic and what's the word? Chemistry, and I really don't want to jack with that. So,
well.
Not at all.
You're the one that put
the horse
together, man. This is your fault. You can't just avoid it forever.
Yeah, that's true.
I do want to say that I think it's been really cool how you guys have kind of kept this shit going, and I think it's cool. That's all.
Thank you.
Thanks. It's something that has kept going, and largely because we did kind of create a bit of a cast, and that works well as long as everybody is able to kind of like understand what we're putting into it. We can cover for each other because not everybody can be there all the time. It kind of falls to Chig and myself mostly to host, which we do not mind doing, but we are happy when friendly voices are with us who can maintain our brand accurate level of just barely professional enough to not get arrested.
And basically, we will put out a show unless we just don't have enough people to put out a show.
Or anything to talk about.
Well, we've done worse. We've done plenty of shows where there was nothing to talk about, so I don't know if we can blame that anymore.
We've done a show where we pretended it was a year in the future, and we did a show where we literally just pretended it was the pre-show. So yeah, we can put on show of nothing, man.
Those were on holidays. I don't know if you can count that. Like,
There have been times when we did not do a show and we said it was because there was no information, but it was because we didn't have enough people to do a show. Because we have no problem getting a bunch of people around and talking about nothing.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try to keep the show. We've talked many times about maybe going to an every other week format, but I think the response we get when we do miss a week, I feel super, super guilty, and I cry myself to sleep, and well, then I touch myself, but we don't need to get into all the details. So I'm committed to making sure that we get a show out every week, even if it's a short one.
I'm committed to not having to hear you talk about touching yourself anymore.
As long as you're doing it during my segment, then we're good.
We usually talk about that after we go mic off, but I shared that insight and look with everybody.
Okay. Well, that leaves nothing but cheese and movies and cheesy movies.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Wait.
I do have one quick thing. Well, one quick thing is this. Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce now has beef jerky. And I want everybody to go buy some so they can keep making it. But don't buy too much because I still need some in Texas. So,
I was looking for it today and could not find it.
Sounds like somebody bought some stock.
And by the way, as another full-throated believer in Sweet Baby Ray's, Sweet Baby Ray's makes a low-sugar barbecue sauce for people who are, trying to be health conscious that taste exactly the same as their regular barbecue sauce. So you can go very low sugar and still have all the great taste. This show is sponsored by Sweet Baby Ray's.
Kraft.
Oh my God.
Kraft is out, man. Kraft doesn't have barbecue sauce.
That's true.
First of all, Kraft does have barbecue sauce.
Second
of all, if Kraft doesn't like what we're doing with the ad-sponsored segments, they know what to do.
They know what to do if they don't like it. Jesus.
Either pay us or fuck them.
I'm waiting for the cease and desist mail.
Yeah, your check's late. Now we're doing barbecue sauce. Good God.
I'm worried about the cheese this week now that I know that it might mess with the sponsor. All right, never mind. I'll still do it. But all right, movies. Now that we're off the Sweet Baby Rays, we're getting into the spring movie release season, going into summer. So now there are a lot of movies that come out in May, in June, and July, and I can name months. August. So this week. I'll go backwards. 10 years ago, yesterday, The Avengers came out, which...
Ooh, damn.
No.
10 years old.
No.
10 years?
10 years.
No.
Damn.
Yep. So that was an interesting one. Now, go back 5 years before that, 15 years ago, Spider-Man 3, that abomination of a superhero movie.
Worst Spider-Man movie ever.
Yep, that was 15
Which
years
is
ago.
saying something after Spider-Man 2.
But get this, go 5 years prior to that, 20 years ago was Spider-Man. Starting to feel old yet?
The best part is that we still don't have that Tobey Maguire Robotech thing he was talking about way back then.
Right.
He was talking about Robotech?
He at some point, whatever company he owns or is a part of bought the rights to Robotech. I don't think they got them anymore. But he was actually, like, right after Spider-Man came out, he was trying to get funding to do either a Robotech series or a Robotech movie. And he was talking about it pretty hardcore there for a number of years, and then it just fizzled out.
I never heard of that.
Something changed with that earlier this year, because I remember reading something about the rights finally getting settled. So
Yep. I don't quite understand copyright crap, but basically, whoever I want to say is going to end up being on HBO as a series or Showtime as a series, which I'd be okay with. But basically, that's the direction they're going now. So
Oh
Damn
hell,
it.
you know it was owned
to
by
get another
Sony.
streaming
You know
service.
it. They ruin everything. Goddamn Sony.
they're a bitch to work with too.
Now
Yeah.
2 more movies. We're going back to 25 years ago. Now we're talking, older than, well,
That's almost as old as me.
yeah, almost. May 2nd in 1997, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
Very nice.
Come on, man. That's great, right? And this is why I wish Data was here. On May 9th, 25 years ago, The Fifth Element.
Oh,
He has not seen that movie and he must be punished.
he must be
How
punished.
has he not seen that?
Because
He's a
he's a
robot.
goober.
Yeah. He is a robot.
That could be the best sci-fi movie ever.
No, that's
that's
hyperbole
false.
if I've ever heard of it.
If not, it's in the conversation.
It's a good
good
fun
movie.
movie. It's
It's
not
a
remotely
great
in the
movie.
conversation for best sci-fi
no.
movie.
It's a great movie.
It's top 500 for sure.
It's
Multi-pass.
multipass.
Multipass.
It's a great movie, and it came at a time when I was precisely the right age to really get excited about it. But it is not a sci-fi movie. It's an adventure movie that happens to take place on a lot of spaceships. But come on,
Just yet another movie that Gary Oldman was in that you forget because he's such a great actor. He's
Yeah.
I mean, God, you just forget he's in stuff because he was the DA agent in The Professional. Good God, he was amazing in that. He plays in True Romance. He was Drexler. He played I don't know, is he a white guy? Is he not a white guy? Pimp dude, and that was Gary Oldman of all freaking things. Then he plays Commissioner Gordon in the Batman movies. I mean, the guy is he's great. He's a national treasure, man. But
For sure.
That's it for movies. Now, this week's cheese. This is just wonderful. It's a craft product. It's not craft singles. It's Cheese Whiz. We did Easy Cheese.
You've done
back
this
in the day.
before.
No, we did Easy Cheese, the
okay.
cheese in a can, where Dubs is like, "Oh, Cheese Whiz," and it's like, "No, Dubs, you're wrong as usual. That's Cheese Whiz comes in a jar." So we've talked about Cheese Whiz in the past.
I might not know what I'm talking about. I mean, that's entirely possible. I am pretty stupid.
Perfect. So, but here's the thing: is I pulled it up. I'm like, it's a craft product. Great, craft Cheese Whiz. We'll get another one of our sponsors. Great products out there. And then I pulled it up, because I was going to look at what the ingredients were, because I'm sure it's not actually cheese. And so I clicked on the Walmart, ad, when it pops up on Google, well, DuckDuckGo, whatever. And I clicked on the Walmart, and then I was scrolling down to read directions, and I'm reading about this item, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it's like specifications, brand, Cheese Whiz. And then there's warnings. And it says warning, and then it says California Proposition 65. I'm like,
but they say that on everything.
What is that?
Yeah.
What is that? Yeah, but then it's like, okay, well, what is that? And then I go to look up what that is, because I wasn't sure what that was and why that's on this jar of Easy Cheese. And it's officially known as the Safe Drinking Water and Toxic Enforcement Act of 1986. Was enacted as a ballot initiative in November 1986. The proposition protects the state's drinking water sources from being contaminated with chemicals known to cause cancer, birth defects, and other reproductive harm, and requires businesses to inform Californians about their exposure to such chemicals. That's on the Cheese Whiz jar.
So just drink the cheese is what you're saying. Not the Kool-Aid, the fucking cheese.
That's a very famous thing. That's a Californian thing. It's on like every coffee. It's on everything, because here's the thing: the threshold is set way too low to be triggered by that label law.
Yeah,
and how much of that I could eat? I could get that by the keg.
The fact is, pretty much anything, if you put enough of it into a human body in a short enough amount of time, could cause something horrible like cancer. And that's the thing, is the threshold for when the label gets applied is entirely in the wrong place, because politics took over instead of science.
Yes, the threshold is it possible?
Right. And it's like everything's possible. The thing is, like, if you do rat studies on all kinds of stuff, and you find that, this soda causes cancer. And it's like, you find out that rat drank, the equivalent of its body weight, like 4 times a day, was like injected directly into his veins, and after 6 months of that,
What I do
it got a
Cheez Whiz.
small tumor. Well, but so anyway, whatever. The point is, California labels everything as a carcinogen. Literally every liquid is a carcinogen in
At
California.
age 40, I acquired a birth
It
defect.
doesn't rain.
Things are getting weird.
Where did you get a keg of Cheez Whiz from?
Don't ask.
I don't know, but I'm
There
sure
are
it's on
sponsors.
Amazon.
The
They'll
truck
make it
just
happen.
shows up and don't ask.
For some reason, I see him like backpacking in the woods. He's like living off the land, but he's got like a keg of Cheez Whiz strapped to his back that he still has for when he escaped from the apocalypse.
Kind of. It's close. It's really one of those hard hats with the cup holders on each side. It's a Cheez Whiz on each side with a straw coming down
I
to my
have
mouth.
one of those.
Yep, put Cheez Whiz in it. On a hot sunny day, that stuff gets really runny. You can suck it through a straw.
Yep, that's what I want on a sunny day. Wow.
Oh man!
All right, everybody. I think that's going to do it for us. I almost said the name of my other podcast. Good God.
Well, you wanted to
Okay.
name a good one.
No, I started to launch into the ending just the same way I do on my other show, and it tricked me. Okay, that's not how I do it here. Thanks everyone for joining me on this episode of the Loose Screws podcast.
That's not how you do it here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I
What
can't
is that?
remember.
What is that
That's all
voice?
I can think about. Okay, look, if you like, all right, fine. Hey, listen, dirtbags. If you like the show, please rate and review on your podcast
Cheese
app.
bags.
Jeez.
Listen
You gotta
up.
tell them to stay fresh.
Listen up, cheese bags. Rate and review us on your podcast app. Join our Discord at discord.io/loosescrews. Check out our merch store at loosescrewsed.com for mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. Remember to stay fresh, stay loose, and fly screwy. Thanks for joining me, Chig, Nurgle, Bard, and Ty. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.